Hey everyone, how's it going today? I'm going to show you actually how to oil your K&N filter with your ETS intake or any other intake that has the K&N filter, as well as just how to clean your MAF sensor. I've noticed through my access port that the car has been running a little bit rich lately, so I assume that it's just due to my filter, and then I wanted to go ahead and take care of the MAF as well. I have about 35,000 miles on the car, so I believe it's a good time because this actual intake has been on here for about 25-ish. So whenever you remove your filter box here, you'll have two of these hex nuts or hex bolts on the top to remove. Let me see what this is here that I'm working with. It's a 4mm. So you'll also have one down here at the bottom. And if you installed it like me, you'll have a washer on the bottom as well. So make sure you don't lose that. As for the filter itself, it looks like it's a little bit dirty. So I'm going to take that out and we'll work on the cleaning. Now the kit I purchased is the K&N 99 5000 kit. If you do the 50/50 kit, the only difference is that your actual oil isn't a spray, it's actually a spread on, where the actual spray, I was told, works a whole lot better and is a whole lot easier. As well as this is the MAF sensor cleaner I picked up just off of Amazon. It says 4 to 10 more horsepower at the wheels, so we'll see if it adds a little boost for me. If y'all didn't catch that, that's just a joke. But I'm going to get the filter out now and get to cleaning. So as you can see here, my filter is pretty dirty. All I have to do now is just put the spray on it, let it sit 10 minutes, and then I'll just use the actual hose over here and wash it out from the inside, basically putting the water on the inside and letting it flow out. Now for my MAF, I can see it in here. Basically all I have to do is unplug it and then kind of reach down here on the back side, and there's going to be two Phillips head screws that you remove, and this whole piece just slides out. Now the MAF itself looks pretty clean to me. As you can see up here, there's an opening in the top, so I'm just going to be spraying into there. Now I have the MAF sensor all put back in and plugged back in. I did probably about 20 sprays on it in intervals of about 5, so I think it cleaned it pretty good. Definitely looked a whole lot more silver on the inside of, as you can see, just kind of right in here. So I believe the cleaning worked well. We'll just have to see whenever I start and use the car. But besides that, I have my intake over here, somewhere over here. It actually cleaned up pretty good. It's not a perfect white. It's still kind of wet right now as well. I'm going to let it dry overnight. But as you can see, it went from kind of like the gray dull that it was to having kind of like a very white, kind of tan color to it. Now the filter's clean here. All I'm going to do now is go ahead and spray it with the new oil. So it looked like the car was idling a little bit better after start. It's going to take driving it around a little bit to see if it really made that much of an improvement. But I'm going to, do a little bit of logs, and then I'll get back with you guys. Alright everyone, so it's been about a week later now with the intake, and the intake does work pretty well, but I have noticed that the corrections aren't as much as I wanted to. Originally I was getting about up to -15, and now it's more about a -10, but I'm really wanting to go back to that -7 that I had seen before at idle. So I had reflashed the map, as well as tried like reflashing with like AC on for about 30 miles or AC off, and it just doesn't seem like it's correcting itself, and I think that is due to the restriction issue. So what I'm doing now is actually just replacing the filter itself. I'm going to reflash the map, go out for a drive, and then see if it is actually corrected now. If you are curious and wanting to do this yourself with the ETS intake, the part number is RU2800 for the replacement filter. Now, some websites like Subi Speed or Import Image Racing, some of those will just sell it to you, just market it as ETS intake, but you can actually find it a little bit cheaper on Amazon, or even if you want to go the eBay route, just type in the number here and basically you'll get it. Even your local auto parts store should have this or be able to order it for you. So here is the new filter versus the old filter. As you can see, this one is a little bit darker, but the biggest thing I noticed, I'll see if I can get it here, you can see how much light passes through this one, where with this one there's still light that passes through, but it's just a little bit darker at where these actual ridges are. So we'll see if putting this one on actually helps us out. So I have the intake installed now. Basically what I'm going to do is actually just redo the map on it. Basically just reflash it, that way it's starting fresh. We'll do the actual reflash, and mine's the 91 or 93 tune, so there we go. Well, it looks like even with the new filter, still the -14, -15-ish range. So I really don't get it at this point. I guess I'll just keep on driving, see if notice anything. Basically the only issue that I have is whenever the car is idling. It's not doing it right now, but sometimes whenever I'm pulling up to a light, it gets a little bit sluggish, almost as if it's struggling. So I guess I'll try this for a week, see if it learns itself out, but otherwise I'll either just disregard it or look into it a little bit further. So the last step I took was actually took this cover off, took off this hose right here, I guess you'd call it the coupler, and slid it back, checked out the turbo, felt inside. There was just basically like a hair of oil, but like a film around everything in there, which wasn't a concern for me. I understand just by working on others that that's pretty normal unless you find any standing oil, but I did not. As well as I checked out the turbo, all of the teeth looked perfect. So just gonna, I guess, kind of chalk it up to the weather, and as well as just the temperature in the car just wearing in. So in further search of trying to figure out why the MAF sensor is giving the bad readings, I contacted ETS and told them about the issue and that I had checked everything down. Basically what it came down to, from what I believe, is actually the MAF sensor extension. So they were nice enough just to send me a new one in the mail to try out. I believe that this could be the issue, and reason being is I've pretty much narrowed it down now to either the front O2 sensor or the actual MAF itself. And so since the MAF isn't showing any type of code, but it is kind of working, I believe that it is fine. As well as I checked the voltage on the O2 sensor, and I was showing correct voltage from what I had read on the forums by using the access port. So I'm actually going to give this a shot, and I believe that this may do the trick for me. So here's the old one versus the new. Basically the same thing. It has the same part number on it. The only thing that's a little bit different is this where it says SN. That number is different. So probably just a model number. It's probably just a newer model. As well as it came with some dielectric grease here to actually put here in the plugs. So I'm going to put the new one on, flash the car, and I'll see how it works tomorrow. Hey, what's up everyone, how's it going? I wanted to do a final update on this video. I know it's been kind of long and drawn out, but it's basically been over the course of 2 weeks. What I did finally was just buy a bottle of fuel injector cleaner. Not sure if it was this or a trip that I went on where I put about 300 miles on the car, but since I actually did the drive with the tune and everything, my AF Learning 1 readings are actually back to normal how they should be. Originally that like negative 14-ish kind of hitting the max was kind of scaring me, but now it's settled around like an 8-ish level, really between like 7 to 10, but the 10 is only for a couple seconds and it starts going back to normal. So not exactly sure what the whole issue is. Basically I narrowed it down to either the injectors, the O2 sensor, or the MAF itself. So besides that, if I run into anything in the future, I know that there's 3 things I need to look at, and it's what I've learned throughout this experience. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, happy driving and enjoy.